everybody, and welcome to Casagrande Chats, a podcast dedicated to the Loud House spin-off series, the Casagrandes, and I'm your host, Sunny, and welcome to episode 5 of Casagrande Chats, or, as I'm calling it for this episode, a new little segment I'm introducing to the podcast, which is the Casa Minisodes. Because basically, this episode of the Casagrande Chats is going to be pretty short. I mean, not short where it's like it's going to be a short episode, but more to the point where I don't have a main topic for this episode of the Casagrande Chats because there's no main topic, there's no big thing that came out during these coming weeks that I can talk about that would be a big feature for this podcast, but there is a lot of stuff to talk about that's mainly focused on news. So this episode is kind of just going to be focused on the news evolving around the Loud House universe with the main show and the spin-off, because again, a lot of stuff was announced when I was gone because of course I took a break for school, and with the Casagrandes right around the corner with that, and also the new Loud House special coming out as well on that day, there's a lot of buzz going around with the Casagrandes and of course with the Loud House and a lot of other stuff in between that. So we're gonna get started here with some Casa news.
Hey, it's me, Ronnie Ann. If you like the Louds, come meet my family. My mom, my brother, abuelo, abuela, Tio Carlos, Tia Frida, my cousins Carlota, CJ, Carl, and Carlitos, and our pets Sergio and Lalo. We are the Casagrandes.
So, before we get to the Casagrande news, we get to jump over to the Loud House for a little bit, and there was some Loud House news that came out while I was gone. Actually, some episodes were announced while I was gone. So we actually knew about the Lori and Lana episode the last time I talked about it on episode 4 with my good friend Ryan, and this time we actually found out some other new episodes that are coming out. I believe they're coming out October 19th and the 26th from Casagrande Universe on Twitter, who was the first one to post about these a while back, which was announced on October 3rd. So the episodes premiering on the 19th are Tales of Woe and Last Loud on Earth, and here are the synopsis for those two episodes. Tales of Woe. When Stella's music box disappears at school, the gang immediately suspects a student urban legend known as the Rat Beast. So, we're getting a Stella episode! Wow, I did not expect that to happen at all. Like, that's amazing to me that they're actually going to give us a Stella focused episode. Now, I don't think it's going to be a focused episode on her mainly, but she's kind of like the thing that drives the plot with the main crew going after her music box. And I think this will be a nice way to actually develop Stella as a character, because so far in the show, Stella's really only been like, I kind of say the replacement for Ronnie and if she was staying in Royal Woods, but I'm saying Stella right now has just kind of been the girl of the group, you know, she's kind of been like the yes man sort of from what her episode, like the episode she's appeared in. I'm really glad that Stella stayed as a permanent character, you know, like they didn't write her off to be Stella, so they didn't make her a background character. No, she's actually a permanent member of the group, and she's been, you know, in Predictability and Antique Off and been some of the comics, so it's really nice to see that Stella is now a permanent member of the group and is contributing to Lincoln's gang, and now she's actually going to be like part of the plot of an episode. So it'll be really nice to actually have another episode about Lincoln's crew with Stella included now, because again, like, she's only been like kind of in the back somewhere. But again, it's really nice that they're actually giving her a chance to shine a bit. You know, I'm very excited for this actually, because again, a Stella episode. I never thought that we would get focused on Stella, but here we are in season 4. We're actually getting focused on Stella, and again, she is staying because we did see from a clip from one of the crew members a while back that there's an upcoming episode with her and the gang in some thing. I actually don't remember. I know she was interacting with like a kid in a wheelchair or something. I don't actually remember the clip. If someone can refresh my memory on that, please do. But yeah, I remember that. So Stella, of course, is a permanent member of the group now, which is great. So I really hope to see what she can contribute to the group, because again, in the comics, Stella is claimed to be a tech wizard. So I actually like to see maybe she kind of helps out here by trying to help them catch the Rat Beast. And then we have Last Loud on Earth. After a night of zombie movies, Clyde and Lincoln find an empty Loud House and assume it's a zombie apocalypse. So when I first heard about this episode and saw the description, I was like, so this is One Flew Over the Loud House 2.0, basically. Because, like, it's it's about the zombie apocalypse. I remember in One Flew Over the Loud House, when all the sisters got sick, Lincoln claimed it to be a zombie apocalypse. So basically, that's what it's gonna be. Although, from what I saw of the kind of tiny clip we got in one of those promos for the Halloween episodes of Nickelodeon shows, they did show a bunch of zombies. So I don't know whether that's from the movie that they're watching, because, oh wait, it's from the movie they're watching, because they're watching zombie movies, never mind, I take that back. But yeah, like, I think it's definitely going to be a follow-up to One Flew Over the Loud House, because once Lincoln sees all his sisters have been zombified, he's basically going to be like, it's a zombie apocalypse again, oh no, of course it's a Clinkin episode. Naturally, we're going to get a whole bunch of those this season. We're going to get triple the Clinkin, we had Clinkin, we had Recipe for Disaster, and of course we're having the episode on Monday, which is King of the Cons, which again is a Clinkin episode. Although, from what I heard from the actual synopsis of the episode, because we didn't actually know anything about the episode really, and we still don't know what's going to happen in the episode, we actually kind of know that the sisters are going to get more attention than Lincoln and Clyde. So my guess for the episode is that once everybody sees the sisters in their costumes are so, mesmerized by them and just don't really care about Lincoln and Clyde, that's why they're doing the little, capture the cat to try to cause trouble so they can get attention. But a lot of people, well, me and a lot of people have thought that maybe this is a satire of the fandom parody, whereas the fandom people who actually like the sisters more than Lincoln and Clyde. So they kind of poke fun at that. That'll be kind of interesting, but because again they're going to a convention, so I think it'll be kind of funny to actually poke fun at fandom tropes. We had fandom pains, but I feel like fandom pains was a wasted potential because they really did not poke fun at the fandom life. They kind of parodied it a little bit, but it wasn't really where it was oh, haha, that's actually really funny. Where I think now that they're going to a convention and they're saying, oh, the sisters are getting more attention than the guys, I feel like that's more of a parody of the actual fandom. I think the one time the show's actually ever called out the fandom was in Be Stella My Heart, where they, when Stella's the first person to ask Lincoln to hang out with her, Rusty says, oh, it's always Lincoln. Yeah, it's always Lincoln, so that was always just funny to me. But I think this will be a good opportunity for that. I'm still curious as to how the episode's going to play down, because again, we have seen a lot of promos, no doubt. Nickelodeon's been hyping so much of the shows, man. There's so many promos out there for the King of the Cons and even the Casagrandes. I feel like I could just put all these promos together and just make the entire episodes and we're done, This thing reminds me of last year when Gears for Fears came out. I remember all the hype for Gears for Fears. I remember all the promos. That entire episode got spoiled, the moment those promos came out. I remember thinking, I have no idea what's gonna happen in this episode, thinking one thing, but it happened to be the other in the actual episode. But then, once all these promos came out, I was I've seen the entire episode already, So, with King of the Cons, I feel like I kind of have seen the whole episode, but not really. I'm really curious as to how Lincoln and Clyde are gonna, pull off this little heist they're doing, because it's King of the Con, it's a con, so it's kind of a joke on that, with just pulling a little heist kind of a crime scene thing, so to get attention, which I think is kind of funny. I think it's still a kind of a little jab at the fans who think that the sisters are better than Lincoln and Clyde, but that's more like me. But yeah, but back to I just did a little rant there, I apologize, but back to Last Allowed on Earth. I'm generally excited for this episode because, again, it's a Clinkin McCloud episode. I do like Clinkin as much as people complain about them having too many episodes, and I'm also one of those people, I'm not gonna lie. I really am curious about this episode, again, if it's gonna just, be a sequel to One Flew Over the Loud House, and maybe we'll have a dramatic scene where Lincoln is the last Loud to stand. Obviously it's called the last Loud on Earth. But once he's the one that goes down, Clyde is holding him dramatically in his arms, and he just goes, no, and the face is black, and you're just wait, what happened? They're all fine. I just want them to really do the satire of zombie movies, or like apocalypse movies, the character who's the last person there. I feel like it's gonna be Clyde. Clyde's gonna be the last one, in One Flew, where he was taking care of all the siblings. So with this one, it'll be him holding Lincoln's body as he's about to faint and to be sick or something. I don't know. Like, that's more my dream of that. I don't think they're gonna go too far with that, but that would be kind of funny if they did kind of like a fun little fun little jab at zombie movies. I haven't really seen a lot of zombie movies. I'm not a big horror fan. Like, I kind of am, but not really. I'm not a fan of scary movies. I haven't seen a lot of apocalypse movies, but once I see the actual episode, they do like make some little parodies or little jabs at those kind of tropes. I feel like I'll understand it. And another thing, actually, before I get to the Casagrande episodes that were announced. Remember on episode 3 when I said, since the Casagrandes are premiering on Saturdays, they want to kind of push them away from the Loud House premieres? I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong, because apparently, the Casagrandes are premiering on Saturday mornings after their official premiere on Monday with the Loud House King of the Cons. The Loud House is moving to Saturdays too, right before the Casagrandes. I was shocked, but I also wasn't shocked, because I'm like, oh, so they actually are deciding to pair the Loud House with the Casagrandes, to have the Loud House premiere before the Casagrandes to jump into it. I figured that, but when I saw that they were going to premiere on Saturdays, I was like, oh, well, that means the Loud House is going to have a bomb setting again, like the last time. Nope. They're doing like the whole thing with the Casagrandes, where they're premiering 2 episodes of The Loud House, then 2 episodes of the Casagrandes back to back, which I think honestly is the greatest thing ever now, because I thought that since I'm in school, they're gonna have the bomb and I'm gonna miss it. It's gonna be at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have class then. Nope. They're actually premiering them right after the Casagrandes premiere, which I think is honestly the smartest idea they've ever done. Again, I don't care about the ratings. I don't think the ratings are really gonna matter, because again, it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the ratings matter, but they really don't, obviously the Loud House and the Casagrandes are super duper popular. They're doing super well, and I think with Saturday mornings, kids love the show. They love both of the shows in the universe, so I think they're gonna wake up on Saturday mornings. And again, I won't have to miss it because of school. I think that's the best decision they've ever made, honestly. I remember when they tried this back in 2017 with the Legends episode. They premiered that on a Saturday, because I remember I was living on campus at my old college during that time, and I remember it was a Heavy Danger episode, then Legends, because the two main guys on Heavy Danger had a guest star on the Loud House in Legends. So I remember getting pizza on campus, walking back from there to walk back to my room to watch the episode on Saturday. That was crazy to me, because I don't think they've ever done that before. Although they actually did try the Friday premieres back in 2018. Yes, when they did a bunch of those episodes. I think there was White Hair, City Slickers, Ready to Her Right. Some of the earlier season 3 episodes they tried on the Friday, and they didn't like that, so they went to the bomb setting. But now they're going back to doing it on Saturdays and just doing 2 episodes per week, which I think is honestly a better idea. Although it is kind of funny how with the Loud House they have been doing this bomb setting for a long time, but to jump into my other fandom now with Tangled, they're doing the bomb thing for that. And same thing with Amphibia, they did the whole bomb thing for that. It's so weird how Nickelodeon's we're not going to do the bomb anymore, but Disney's yeah, we're totally doing the bomb thing. The networks really don't know what works and what doesn't work. I think, honestly, the bomb thing just doesn't work because people are so confused about when episodes come out. So I think with this, obviously, now that the Loud House and the Casagrandes are both premiering on Saturdays, as by week, I think it's honestly just perfect. With the bombs, it's wait, there were 5 episodes of The Loud House? How was I supposed to know that? Where it's they're premiering 2 episodes on Saturdays with the Casagrandes. That's perfect, So, yeah, so The Loud House is moving to Saturdays with the Casagrandes, so that is perfectly great. I absolutely love that. Again, I was kind of thinking they were going to push the Casagrandes away from the Loud House, but I'm glad they're not. They're deciding to keep those 2 entities together, which is honestly the thing I was thinking about, but I really didn't know they were going to go with it. I guess they decided to change it, which I think, again, it's a good idea. Kids don't have school. I don't have school. So I think it's, going through a stressful week of work from college. It's nice to get up on Saturday mornings, just watch some TLH and enjoy my day, and some Casa G's, you know what I mean? But yeah. So those are the 2 Loud House episodes that were announced. There's no other Loud House episodes. I don't think those were announced. Let me just look here on my list here. No. So, we're going to talk about the Casagrande episodes that were announced, which we already knew about, which were the 2 Halloween-esque episodes. One is the Deus and Muertos episode, and the one is the Halloween-esque episode. Look at my source here at Leaf Loud YouTube on Instagram, who put up some nice descriptions of the upcoming episodes of TLH and the Casagrandes. Because I completely forgot I had my source for the episodes, but they did not put the plot out yet until later on. So, here's the plot for Croaked. Roddy and Sid teach Adelaide about the Day of the Dead to help her get over the death of her frog. So, am I gonna cry? Am I gonna cry in this episode? I know Miguel talked about this episode. He was like, oh, it's funny, it's sad. I'm like, Miguel, you gonna make me cry, man. You gonna make me cry. I am not ready to cry, man. No, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, I think it's a really cute idea, honestly, with Ronnie and Sid trying to help Adelaide get through this situation of her losing her frog. They're touching on death again. I that's crazy to me that, again, like, we had the Grave Mistake episode where they had Ricky the Rooster die, basically. And so now they're having... Is it always animals that are going to die in the show? Is that just a habit of the show? It's going to have animals die? I don't know. But I think it's really cute that Adelaide has this pet frog and it's going to die. And Ronnie and Sid have to teach her how to get over that. I think that's a really interesting parallel between her and, like, Lana. Like, maybe if they ever had a crossover episode with the Casagrandes and Loud House again, if Adelaide ever met Lana, they could bond over that. Maybe Lana would actually let her play with Hops, That'd be really cute. Or maybe Lana knows, like, where Adelaide can get a frog of her own or something. But, man, I just can't wait to see this. I already imagine, like, Adelaide, once she realizes that her frog is basically dead, she starts tearing up and crying, and then, like, Ronnie and Sid come over and start to hug her, and they're all crying, and I'm just gonna break down and cry, honestly. Like, I'm not prepared for this episode, man. Like, from just the plot of it, like, just hearing the plot, I think it's gonna make us all cry. Like, there have been episodes of TLH that have kind of made me emotional, but not actually made me tear up and cry, really. But this episode, man, I feel like it's gonna make me break. I just know that for sure. Like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't know if I'm ready for this, but Casa Crew, I believe in you in this episode. But, man, from the premise, it sounds like I'm gonna be an emotional wreck when I see this episode. And then we have new hots. Ronnie forgoes a family Halloween tradition for a cool party, but learns cool doesn't always mean fun. Now, I'm kind of confused about the plot, because when I first read the synopsis for this episode, I thought that Ronnie was going to a cool party. Like, she was, like, forgetting her family tradition and going to a cool party. But then I'm thinking, or is she throwing a cool party? I'm, like, confused about the forgoes. It says forgoes a family tradition for a cool party. So I don't know whether she's going to one or making one. I'm not sure. But we do know that Samir was in the promo for the Halloween episode. So this means that Roddy and City Friends are first appearing in this episode. I mean, they could be in another episode, I don't know yet. But I think for now, we know that they're actually going to be in this episode. Which is crazy to me. Like, we're actually going to see Roddy and City Friends for the first time in the spin-off, and actually be with Roddy and again, after just only being the City Slickers. Now, I don't know if Sid's going to be in this episode, we don't know that yet. But I hope this means that this is the first, like, if this is the first time that Sid is meeting Ronnie and City Friends, I hope this means that they don't retcon it where she actually just knows her City Friends already. Like, it's like, hi, Casey, Nikki, and Samir, my good friends that are also Ronnie and's friends, who are also my friend, who I happen to be off screen, and we actually did not show that at all. She just knows them. Like, again, like, I really don't want that to be the case, but if they do that, it's like, oh, hey, remember hey, you know my City Friends, right? Oh, yeah, they're cool with me. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But I would just really like to see if, like, this is the first time, like, maybe Sid is actually meeting Ronnie and City Friends, and she kind of tells her how she met them. Like, maybe you actually get to learn the backstory of how she met them. Or I was thinking when I first saw that clip, that is a flashback that takes place before she meets Sid, and Ronnie and City friends have always been there. Like, they've always kind of just been there, and she met them before, like, in City Slickers, and they've kind of just been, she's been hanging with them. She's not really that close with them and stuff, but then she went trick-or-treating with them at one point in the city. But again, in Friended, she said that they've been there for like a couple of months, so I don't really know what the timeline is for that. But yeah, but again, I am interested in this episode because of what it could do for Ronnie Ann's character. Because again, she's like, okay, I'm not going to do this family Halloween tradition. I think it probably means going trick-or-treating. I'm going to throw this cool party. Like, I'm going to either go to a party or throw a cool party. I think it's going to be where she's throwing a party, and I don't know who she's going to invite, whether she's going to invite her family to come or a bunch of random strangers. I would really like to see if she invites just a bunch of random strangers, like a bunch of random kids from the city where she's never met them before from like school or something, and she's like trying to mingle with all these people, be like, hey, you having fun? You know, like she's like just like, it's basically Party Down with Lori, where she's trying to make this sophisticated party, whereas Ronnie is trying to make this really cool party with like stuff that she thinks is cool, but a lot of people don't think is cool, because like it says, she learns that cool doesn't always mean fun. So I think she's trying her best to push her interest onto other people, and they're not getting the idea that, hey, we actually don't like skateboarding, or we don't like pranks, you know? Like, it kind of reminds me of an idea for an episode I have with Lincoln, where Lincoln comes to the city, and he is spending the day with Ronnie Ann, but she actually wants to do all the things that she wants to do with him, rather than thinking about what he wants to do. So I'm thinking this is kind of what that's going to be, where Ronnie Ann is doing things and throwing this party, thinking that people are going to love the idea she has for this party, but end up not liking them and leave, and she realizes that the only people that really appreciate her interest or anything that she likes to do is her family and the friends that she's made in the past. Now, again, I don't know if Sid's going to appear in this episode. It'd be kind of weird if, like, you know, she's at the party and she's like, you know, Ronnie, as much as I'm your best friend, I'm really not interested in, like, this other stuff, you know? It'd be, oh, I would cry, honestly, like, you know, like, Sid like, is like, oh, I like to try new things, but maybe we learned that Sid is not really always interested in trying new things, you know? And Ronnie Ann realizing that, like, oh man, like, I should not push my interest onto other people that don't really like this certain stuff, and I should have just stuck with the people that I care about. Again, it's an interesting idea for her character, honestly, because I would really like to see her interact with more people, because again, she has Sid, she made friends with her, like, on the spot, because Sid is Sid, you know, she's super excitable and stuff, but I'd love to see her interact with people who don't really like her, you know, like, where she has the kind of social anxiety skills again, like how in Pranks for the Memories, where she couldn't have a conversation with Carlota, she kind of just goes up to someone and is like, hi, what's up, everything, finger guns, and they're like, hi. Yeah, cool party, I guess. It's like, oh, yeah, you have fun! Not really. Okay. Like, you know, because I still think Ronnie Ann still has those anxiety issues of making friends and stuff, like she did back in Royal Woods before she made friends with Lincoln. So, again, I'm really interested in this episode, what it can do for her character, but that's just more of a guess on me. I don't know what the episode's gonna give. They didn't really, like, reveal anything. The only thing they kind of revealed besides the Samir cameo was Bobby dressed as a vampire with Ronnie Ann. They kept that continuity that they like to dress up at the same costumes together like they did when they were little kids. That's so cute. Like, I'm thinking that's going to happen at the end, where Ronnie Ann realizes that she wants to spend time with her family with the Halloween tradition and go trick-or-treating with the rest of the guys. And she dresses up as a vampire with Bobby. Like, she dressed up as a zombie when she was a little kid. So I really like that. That's really adorable. But I think that Bobby is dressed up as a vampire because Lori dresses up as a vampire for Halloween during Tricked. So I think that's what that reason is going to be for. He's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm dressed as a vampire because Lori told me to. We're just like a matching couple, even though we're far away. I think that's really cute, honestly. You know, I'd love to see a little Lori cameo where she's like, oh, Boo Boo Bear, you look so cute in your vampire costume. They kind of like flirt as vampires, you know. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really, as much as I am going to say, like, with croaked I am excited for and I'm gonna cry. I think New Hans will be a nice little, like, breather after crying, and then I'll just be like, give me some Ronnie and character development, please, you know, give me some character growth, give me something, you know, like, something where I can overanalyze her character so people will tell me to shut up on Twitter, you know, because I'm gonna make, like, a huge rant on Twitter, and people are gonna be like, Sunny, just stop, you know, just stop, like, no, especially, that's the reason why I made this podcast, you know, so I can rant on for 5 hours about, like, Ronnie Yen's the best well-written character in the Loud House universe, but hey, that's just coming from me. Some people might say it's not true, but it is true. Well, hey, it's with this podcast, so I can be biased on here. Anyway, so yeah, those were the episodes that were announced with the synopsis, and there were promos that came out for some of them. Not for the Loud House ones, although I think there was kind of a tiny bit of Last Loud on Earth in the promos, where Lincoln and Clive were screaming, but that could be any Clinkin episode. I'm like, that's any Clinkin episode in a nutshell. Them screaming like babies, yeah, that's any Clinkin episode. So they kind of want to keep those episodes a secret, which I think are good, but we'll probably see more promos for those episodes later on. But for now, we did see a lot of the Casa G's in the promos, because obviously the Casagrandes are coming out on Monday, and they want to hype the new show, so obviously they want to show us more with that. And to jump away from the episode descriptions, we did get a bunch of promo stuff that came out. Like I said, we got a bunch of promos for King of the Cons and for the Casagrande episodes. There was also a few little snippets in this new promotional video they did for the Casagrandes called Meet the Fam, which basically show, like, a few little promotional stuff for the Casagrandes. And they showed, like, newer clips in there. Like, they showed Carlota trying to do matchmaker with Maria, and I was just like, wait, what? Like, Carlota? Excuse me? You know that Maria's kinda-ish, I don't know if they're still together. Like, what is the status on her and Arturo's relationship? Are they actually together, or are they actually split up? I'm very confused on that. I mean, I guess if Carlota's trying to pair her up with other people, they are split up. I mean, Ronnie had said so, but, like, they have a nice little, like, mutual relationship, what I can tell from, like, the whole, like, you know, Arturo's actually a nice father and stuff. He's gonna be in the show, so I was a little confused by why Carlota wants to pair her up so fast. Like, it made me kind of interested in, like, if Carlota's gonna do the same thing with Ronnie and trying to set her up with Lincoln, if Lincoln comes back to visit, and Carlota's like, oh my god, I set you two up so cute, you know? There was also a small little clip where Ronnie and actually did a selfie on Maria's phone, and she was like, let me change your lock screen to me. It's like, oh, that's so precious, you know? And then there was also a scene that kind of made me question something, where it was Sid talking to Ronnie Ann about, like, how I guess they were trying to choose, like, an activity to do for a club at school, which, again, I'm so excited to see Ronnie Ann in school. Like, I remember, I think it was the interview that Miguel did for one of these podcasts. I forget what the podcast was called. I'll think of it later. He talked about the school environment that Ronnie is going to be in, and like I said, I'm so excited to see Ronnie in the school environment, because again, we didn't see her much of that in Royal Woods, so to see a city school environment will be very interesting, you know, with that. So, like, I'm wondering if her experience at Royal Woods in school will affect her status in actual, like, city school, but, you know, if they're smart about it, they will do that, but I don't really think they're going to. But, again, I'm really curious to see her in school, and with Sid, that scene where Sid is talking to Ronnie about, like, oh, or Ronnie Ann's like, oh, well, we gotta pick an activity we should do together, and Sid's like, oh, yeah, if we don't do that, we won't have enough, we don't have a lot of hangout time, and we don't have a lot of hangout time, it'll be like, we're only hanging out together for, like, 12 hours or something like that. And it made me question, like, okay, so Sid wants to hang out with Ronnie Ann as much as possible. Where's that time spent where she can spend time with her family? You know, like, Ronnie Ann has a family. You know, she gotta spend time with her fam, you know? And another thing, like, it also made me question again, if Lincoln comes to visit, and Sid's just kind of in the back, like, she's spending, like, 2 hours with Lincoln. That's 2 hours and not enough with me. Why? You know, like, that'd be so funny. I mean, obviously, she'll be with Ronnie, and obviously, if she ever meets Lincoln. But I was thinking that if there was an episode where Sid didn't appear with Lincoln, it'd be like, oh no, 2 hours without me. Why? I don't know. It made me question that, but at the same time, it's more like, okay, they're just trying to find ways to hang out with each other more because they're best friends, obviously, but it made me kind of make a headcanon on that, where Sid's kind of like a little, I don't know, possessive, where she's like, oh no, we gotta spend as much time as possible. You can't spend time with your family, just me, Ronnie, because we're best friends, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm really curious about that episode. I think that might be the one where they're trying to walk dogs, maybe? I don't know, actually. Or it could be from a future episode, I don't know. Because, again, there's one where they're building a robot together. I think it's like a breakfast robot, but I don't know what episode that's from. That could be from that episode, but I have no idea. So, you know. But again, the school environment setting, I'm, like, so excited to see Ronnie in school. Like, I've never been more excited for a setting for Ronnie to be in than school. I don't know why. I'm just like, I'd love to see her just interact with other people. To see if her interactions have to, her social skills have developed with, you know, with Sid and now her city friends. Now her city friends will appear to see their interactions, but that's to see her, like, talk to people, you know, that's, like, not really her friends, and be like, hi, I'm school, you know, like, I just want to see her, like, socialize. It'll be kind of fun, you know, to see her, like, actually talk to people for once. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Was there any other promotional stuff that came out with, like, videos and stuff, or episodes? I don't think so. And so, to talk more about the Casagrandes, we're mostly going to be talking about a lot of the promotional stuff that's been coming out for the Casagrandes, because there's been a lot. Like, I can't even keep up with all this promotional stuff doing for the Casa G's. Like, so, like, in New York City, I believe, they actually had a booth for the Casagrandes where they had a little, like, setup of the bodega, where they had, like, all the little characters and, like, cutouts of the characters, and you could, like, actually, like, be in the bodega, and I'm just like, why can't I be there? Like, come on, guys, like, why is all this cool stuff happening, like, with the Casagrandes everywhere else but where I live, you know? Like, even though I would never be able to get to the thing, if something that came to where I live, it's like, hey, we're promoting the Casagrandes in your specific area, I would say absolutely. Like, I'd tell my mom, just drive me there. I don't question it, we're just going. But it has to be everywhere where I'm not near it, and it stinks. But this was so cool to see that they made this little like, replica of the bodega, and then they actually had Casagrande buttons at this thing, and I'm like, I think it was at one of the Comic-Cons, they had buttons for the Casagrandes, like, with the Loud House. I'm like, why does nobody tell me about this? Like, I don't think anybody knew, but someone had posted on Twitter, like, here's a button for the Casagrandes. I'm like, why am I just hearing about this? Like, crazy. I guess I'm gonna have to buy it on Amazon when someone puts it on there. But yeah, like, that was pretty cool. There's been a bunch of, like, interviews going out, like, Lalo's did a bunch of interviews for the show about himself. Miguel's did an interview, like I talked about, he did it on a podcast. Isabella and Carlos have been doing a ton of interviews. Like, I remember there's an interview out now with them talking about the show, kind of, where the person interviews them about themselves, and they talk about the show, kind of. But it's so crazy to me. And then also, there was also another panel that happened, like, today, I believe, where they were talking about the Casagrandes, and I'm like, there's just so much stuff happening with the Casagrandes. We're doing interviews, they're doing promos, they're doing panels, they're doing signings. They're doing a signing on Sunday in California for the Casagrandes. I'm like, oh, come on. Why can't it be where I live? I want to meet these guys. I'm so happy they're doing all this promotion, but I'm just like, why can't I be there and meet these guys? Like, seriously, like, I'm a big fan of the Casagrandes, and they're doing absolutely nothing in my area. Like, it's like, we're gonna do it in California, we're gonna do it in New York City, like, literally so far away from me that I can't go and do these fun things. Like, I remember, like, telling Lalo I really liked that new poster they did for the Casagrandes. It was the blue one where they had all the characters. And they even had Arturo, like, up front and center from the last ones. He was in the back. So I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Like, and he was telling me, oh, we're gonna have a signing soon. And I'm like, you know, I don't live in California. It's like, why can't I be where the people are, you know? Like, it's so sad. But it's also great at the same time that there's just so much promotion for the Casagrandes getting out there to promote this amazing show. Like, they're just doing so much. I'm trying to look at my sources here on nicolive.com. I know they did an interview recently with Mike Ruber and Miguel Gonzalez, which is, I believe that he's the art director on the show. And they talked about, basically most of the stuff that we already know about the show, where it's like, they got the inspiration of doing the spin-off with Ronnie, as she was a very interesting character with Bob, and also with Bobby, so, to make the Casagrandes. We talked about how, like, the art direction is very different from the Loud House, but not too different, because obviously they want to have characters like Lincoln appear in the episodes, which, again, hearing that confirmation that Lincoln's going to be in the Casagrandes, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. Today, actually, somebody, I believe, who works on the Casagrandes, I don't remember his name, I'm so bad at remembering names, but Ryan, I know you're out there. You're gonna be like, you're gonna be messing me, man, say like, you forgot all this stuff. I know, I forget things. I know, I should have a reference up. But this one person who works in the Casagrandes, he actually posted a drawing he did today, talking about how he's worked on the Casagrandes and the Loud House. So he posted one where it's Ronnie and Lincoln together. Ronnie's kind of like ruffling his head. Like, I actually went to take a nap today after school. And I woke up and I got this notification on my phone. And I saw this picture on my phone. And I just squeezed like a baby. I was like, oh my god, that's so cute, Like, oh my god, look at this Lincoln, Ronnie, and my two little favorites, Like, my little shipper heart is exploded, And it's like, okay, so if somebody on the Casagrandes is working on the Loud House, is that a confirmation on crossover episodes, or are they asking people on the Casagrandes to go over to the Loud House and work on other things? I'm confused about that. Like, why would they be asking people on the Casagrandes to work on Loud House stuff? Unless they're from the Loud House, maybe go to the Casagrandes, but I don't know if this person worked on the Loud House, I'm not sure, but that's a lot of work, they're doing both shows at the same time. But I'm curious if that's hinting at the crossover episodes. I'm not sure, because we know there's going to be crossover episodes in Season 5, or even now, because of course Lincoln's going to appear in the Casagrandes. But that's just interesting to me, that it's like, oh, he's working on both shows somehow. So maybe that could be like saying that he's working on one of the episodes that Lincoln appears in the Casagrandes. I don't know. But that was more making a guess. But again, that was just so adorable, seeing the little drawing of them. I was thinking about, like, now that the Loud House and the Casagrandes are combined in premieres, I hope we get to see, like, some, like, crossover drawings of Lincoln and Ronnie, and, like, back-to-back, meaning, like, hey, we're premiering back-to-back, literally, they're, like, back-to-back, that'd be really cute, that'd be adorable. Actually, I'm thinking about doing, like, a promotional drawing for the show when it premieres, to do Lincoln and Ronnie and together, kind of like a back-to-back sort of thing, And also, to talk about more promotional stuff, the weirdest promotional thing that just came out today was that you can text Abuela, Rosa, to your phone, and she'll give you, like, life advice. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, I had to pull up the Instagram story where they posted about this. So you could text her at 91757. You text Abuela to this number for the words of wisdom. I'm not sure if it works for every cell provider. It worked for me, which was great. I actually put her in as a contact for me, so every time I get a notification, I know it's from her. I think that's the weirdest promotion I've ever seen for a show, but I think it's honestly kind of neat. I kind of wish it would have been more like if it was all of the Casagrande characters, like not just Rosa. Maybe like we would have gotten one from Ronnie Ann saying like, hey, you want to go outside, do some skateboarding, don't trip and fall or something, I don't know. But I think it's kind of neat. I think it's really neat. I don't think I've ever seen something like that for any sort of show doing promotions. Like, hey, you can text one of the characters and they'll give you life advice. Like, the one they gave me today, I don't want to put my phone too close to the microphone because I'll get static. I mean, I might hear the static later on. But the one I got today, I think it's the one where everybody got the same one, which was, Fabuloso, here's a dicho just for you. give a lot, take a little. This rule does not apply to the bathroom. I got this, I'm like, Rosa, thank you for the life advice there. But everybody seemed to get the same one. I was kind of hoping that mine would have been special enough that everybody got different ones, but I guess everybody's getting the same one. So, but not gonna complain. I think it's a really neat idea. I know Lalo is doing it too. I know he posted something on Twitter where he's like helping out Rosa with the life advice text. So I think it's a really neat idea. I'd love to see more of that. If they're gonna do more of those promotional stuff where it's like, hey, you can text the character and they'll like text you back or something. I know a long time ago in another fandom with the Muppets, Miss Piggy actually did something like this a lot during the 2015 show, where you could text her on Facebook and you could actually interact with her. Like, I remember actually having a conversation with Miss Piggy. That was the crazy thing to me. I remember asking her about like her relationship with Kermit and stuff, and they actually gave you like filtered answers. I'd love to just text Ronnie Hand every day, like, hey, you talked to Lincoln lately? Please give me some updates, you know, like just tell me something, you know, like just give me a filtered answer or whatever. I don't care. I was actually thinking about a long time ago, back in 2017, when Lincoln did a Q&A for the Facebook page. I would love if they did one with Ronnie Ann, honestly. If they do that, that'd be great. Just ask her about Lincoln every 5 seconds till she tells me to stop. But yeah, no, that I think is just a wonderful idea for a promotion. I think it's really great. And again, back to the promotional stuff. See, I saw the video today of Isabella and Carlos doing their little interview for the Casagrandes, and that was super cute. Like, of course, seeing Carlos do Carlos's voice or even Sergio's voice is just perfection. Like, oh my god, he's great. Like, he really just loves his characters. Like, he just goes into character in all the interviews that he's been in, and I think it's wonderful. He did one on his own for another thing, and that was just awesome seeing him talk about the show. And then like just Isabella just doing a little bit of her Ronnie Ann voice was the cutest thing ever. That was so precious. So I was like, a little squeak. It's like, oh, she's doing her Ronnie Ann voice, you know. So I thought that was really great. I'm trying to think of what else happened recently. So yeah, there's that interview, that article I talked about where we basically know about the show, talking about a lot of things. They basically copy and pasted a lot of the other stuff we knew from the Animation Magazine article. But they talked about how, like, you know, again, they're kind of trying to change up the Casagrandes art style. They want to make it more inspired by a Mexican culture, things like that, very different color palette, things like that. But it's not going to be too far off from the main show because it's not going to be too far off from the Loud House because they want Lincoln to appear in episodes, and they didn't want him to look any different. They didn't want the show to look different, and he's just coming in like, hey, nice, you changed up the place, huh, Ronnie? Nice new furniture, you know. It's like the furniture is just kind of like a different like line art or something. It's like a vector, and he's like, oh, has this chair always been this wonky? I don't know. I'm just playing. Trying to look at the other stuff. Oh, there's an article where they talked about how they did a behind the scenes at the Ottawa Animation Festival. I don't think they mentioned anything about it. I tried to look up any information they had about this panel, because I know they had a bunch of the people on the crew, but nobody either could live tweet or anything like that, so I don't think there was any information about that we don't know. But I really would like to hear something about it, since obviously I can't go. One more thing is, again, there's a bunch of promos out there for the Loud House and the Casagrandes. They've basically been showing the same like clips from all the promos, but there's been a bunch of newer clips here and there. One more thing. There was a newer promo that came out where Ronnie and Sid were cooking, and Ronnie had a cute little chef hat and the apron on. It was so adorable. And there was one part where Ronnie had like food stuffed to her face. She was like, I'm coming, or something. That was adorable. But should I be worried about Bobby? It seems like in every promo I've seen of him, like there was the one where he has the splitter in his finger, which is a nice little callback to Shell Shock, or even like there was a part where Carlos is telling Maria he has the caboose on his caboose, and like Bobby's just laying on the floor. And then there's one promo where Rodian tells Maria that Bobby can chop the onions, and he's like crying his eyes out. I'm just like, should we be worried about Bobby? Is he doing alright? Aren't those long distance calls from Lori really getting to him? Is he alright? Should I be concerned? Casa crew, is Bobby okay? I remember Alex who voices Carl on the show, like she tweeted my picture I posted of Bobby just laying on the floor, and she's like, Bobby's been through a lot. And I asked, like, oh, can we end his suffering? And they posted a gif of like this guy being thrown in a dumpster. And I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god. I was like, oh, that's such a Carl thing to do, honestly. That was great. I'm trying to think of, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. Darren actually posted the storyboards from the promo clips we had seen from King of the Con. So we know that he is working on the special, and somebody else is. I actually don't remember. But I did comment on his board saying I'm really excited for the special, and it's really nice to see his work, because I really do like his work on the Loud House. And of course, for what we know for King of the Cons, it is the last whammy collab. Like, this is the last one that they're working, last episode they've worked on together, which is kind of sad. Because, like, you think about the Loud House, and they wrote a lot of episodes together. So the fact that they're actually, like, this is the last episode they ever did together is crazy to me. You know, that's crazy. But, you know, all good things must come to an end, but that's just crazy to me. So to wrap this whole thing up, just remember that the Loud House and the Casagrandes are premiering on Monday, October 14th, which are both going to be back-to-back, and the Loud House, of course, is having their King of the Con special, and the Casagrandes are premiering the first episode, Going Overboard, and, of course, the second episode, Walk Don't Run, which is the Sid and Ronnie Ann episode where they're walking dogs. And to make a little announcement before I plug in my social media, I wanted to promote the thing I'm doing on October 13th. So October 13th at 8 o'clock, I'm actually going to be joining the Loud House fan page with my good friend Wyoming Parmesan, aka Nat, and one of my other good friends, Serene, who does the Casagrande Chill Sessions podcast. And we're going to be on the fan page's live stream talking about all things Casagrandes. And I am really, really excited about doing that, because I was on the live stream a couple of months ago talking about some things and stuff, and I'm really, really excited about this, because, you know, when I first heard they were doing a Casagrande live stream to hype up the Casagrande premiere, I kind of joked by saying, oh, can I invite myself on, you know? But no, they came to me and said, hey, you want to do this with these two other guys, and you want to do this with Nat and Serena? I said, absolutely, I would love to do it. So again, don't forget that we're doing that live stream on Sunday, October 13th at 8 o'clock, and that'll be like a fun time talking all about Casagrandes and whatnot, because I love them Casa G's. I can't wait to talk about the Casagrandes. I'm so excited. I mean, reason why I made this podcast, but hey, it's always fun to go on some other person's thing and talk about some Casa G's. So yeah, if you want to hear me rant about Ronnie Ann for 5 hours and bore everybody to death, please tune into that live stream. Don't forget, the Loud House and the Casagrandes are premiering on October 14th at 1:30. The King of the Cons is premiering at 1 o'clock, and then the Casagrandes official premiere is at 1:30. So they'll be back to back. And then we're actually going to be back to talk about the Casagrandes and the Loud House on October 19th, when they officially premiere on Saturdays at 11 and 11:30. So, of course, the Going Overboard episode is going to premiere on Monday, which we've all have already seen. And I did talk about with Ryan for a bit, but because we had a time constraint with him on my part and his part, I'm actually going to try to get into more detail with that. But also we have the Walk Don't Run episode. But I am going to try to get a very special guest to come on for that episode to talk about that episode with me, which I had asked them a while back to do, but I'm hoping that actually we'll be able to get them on the podcast to talk about that. And then, of course, I'll be back on October 19th to talk about the new episodes of The Loud House and the Casagrandes. I will actually review King of the Cons, but I won't go into too much detail because, again, it is a Loud House episode. This podcast is mainly focused on the Casagrandes, but I do like to talk about The Loud House too. So I actually would like to talk about King of the Cons with this person as well as the Casagrandes. But then October 19th, I will also talk about The Loud House, but not too much into detail. And then the new episode of the Casagrandes, I will be back for those. So that is the future plans moving forward. So this was kind of a short episode, mainly to focus on all of the news and all the promotion for The Loud House and the Casagrandes. So if you have any questions for me about the podcast or want to discuss anything about the podcast, you can contact me over Twitter at xsunnyeclipse or at the podcast's Twitter, Casagrande Chats, and we'll see you next time on Casagrande Chats.